So the projects are greatly impacted by the kind of environment that we do the projects in. So basically, the companies in which we work, the enterprises that we work in, these are these exist within overall ecosystem, overall environment. There is an internal environment of the organization where we do the projects, and there is an external environment where the enterprise exists. By internal, I mean the structure of the organization, the vision, mission, the values, the skill set which exists within the organization. And by external, I mean the marketplace condition, the regulatory requirements, the compliance requirements, the competition that we are in, the suppliers, contractors that we have, any government regulation, industry regulation, so on. So all of these factors have great impact on the success or failure of our projects. Let's talk about collectively. We call these as enterprise environmental factors, and it is the acronym for it is EEFs. And you will be hearing a lot during our PMP exam preparation that two factors are extremely important. One is enterprise environmental factors, EEF, and the other is organizational process assets. So I'll go to organizational process asset a little bit later, but first I wanted to touch the the enterprise environmental factors. Broadly speaking, these are of two types, internal and external. And as I mentioned, internal are those vision, mission, culture, structure of the organization, the skill set, the people, the resources that we have, the work-life balance, whatever we have internal environment within our organization, that is the internal. And external, what I mean is the industry that we operate, the competition we have, the external suppliers, contractors, government bodies, any compliance authorities. So all of these factors may be bounded between these dynamics. If marketplace, if there is political unrest, that could also impact externally to the activities of the project, and ultimately we may get hit in the scope of work, or we may get some hit within the schedule or budget. Because of political unrest, there could be resource shortage, and then when resource shortage is there, then ultimately the cost of the resources which exist in the market will go high, and then you will be getting hit in your budget of the project. So these are the internal or external enterprise environmental factors. Other influences which have great influence on the project, like from outside to the project, is the policies, procedures that exist within the organization. So every organization has their own process repository. So they do not reinvent the wheel. They follow some existing processes, policies, hiring policies, firing policies. When it comes to procedures like standard operating procedures, like how we operate, which standards we follow. Even the project management methodology that we are just now talking about is the PMI methodology. So they may have adopted this methodology, and then this is part of their internal processes. So that is the internal process repository of the organization, policies and procedures. And then we have a corporate knowledge base, which means that any similar project or different project done in the past, we should have some project files, we have archived estimates, we have the lessons learned registers, risk registers, issue logs, change log, everything related to previous projects that we have done in the past should be existing in the knowledge base, because knowledge is what that is something which people have, which work in the organization, they work for long in the organization, and they have this tacit knowledge with them, which is not documented knowledge. So what we do, we ensure that we document this tacit knowledge that people hold with them, and then we do it by multiple ways. We can have knowledge management system, we can incorporate SharePoint repositories, so that people know that whatever that knowledge is not a monopoly of a single person. It should be actually cascaded down. So we will find number of ways that it should be actually documented, and it should be transferred from the experienced resources, and it should be transferred to the junior resources, so that once senior resources leave the organization, we should not have a knowledge gap. All right. So if you guys have any question on the influences that will internally or externally impact you, or the internal organizational process assets, then you may ask. If no, then we can move on. So just like EEF, we also have certain other industry acronyms such as PESTEL, TCOP, VUCA. These are primarily related to defining some external business environment. So PESTEL mean like political, economic, socio-cultural, technical, and legal environment. So wherever we do the projects, these projects exist within some political environment, like the company is within a country, and country is surrounded by political situations, like always. So whenever the political situation will change, we may have strict sanctions on the product coming in the country, going outside the country, the dealings. So all the economic activity gets impacted. because of some instability, security as well, we will see that certain activities which are outdoor activities which might not be possible because of the political unrest or sit-ins or traffic jams or whatever situation that we find ourselves in. Similarly, is the economic condition and any other socio-cultural environment where we operate. We need to consider those factors which will limit our choices. And we may also end up facing some technical challenges, which are the risks that every project has, and then there should be some workarounds, and this is what we need to brainstorm continuously, that how we can deal with these technical challenges as well. Apart from that, we may have some legal limitations because of the legislation of the country. We may have certain kind of goods, products, material, equipment, resources. We need to comply with the legal laws of the land. We may not be in a position to hire or certain deal with certain companies or deal with certain nationalities, could be because of the country which we operate, we are bound by those laws, and this also pertain to the data, that we deal with data, and data, there are a lot of legislations around the data leaving the organizations, leaving the country in which we operate. So similar to PESTEL is the TCOP, almost similar: technical, environmental, commercial, operational, political, and then VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So we can classify any external environmental factor in terms of how complex, how ambiguous, how volatile it is. And in addition to it, what we need to look at is our own comparative analysis, internal strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat analysis. Also our own economic, our own financial strength, especially if we are, if it is financially feasible for us to do such kind of projects. These things also should be considered, because feasibility is not only technical feasibility. Like technically it is possible, it's about our capability to deliver such kind of massive project also. So we also need to do some feasibility studies, that can we do it all on our own, or do we need any external help from partners, suppliers, contractors? So we need to find out this feasibility. And mostly the risks that emerge in the project are from the assumptions that we make early on in the process, and then these turn out to be not true. So do not assume, ask, clarify, make your assumption log, but validate your assumptions time to time. Secondly, we also need to look into what has happened in the past, the historical projects, the files. It's important, because why we should do the similar mistakes which already people have done in other projects. So we need to learn ahead of time with the information which is available, so that we should do maybe new type of mistakes, but we should not do the old mistakes that people have done while estimating for their projects, while managing their projects, dealing with the resources, suppliers, contractors, outsourcing partners. We might have learned some lessons. So those lessons are worth early on. Those should be visited early on, so that we should also ahead of time aware of who we need to deal for supplies of the goods, materials, which we have history of those suppliers. So some suppliers might be providing resources quickly, and some suppliers might be delaying always. So better to learn from this history and deal with the correct suppliers. Now, and this is what mostly you are preparing yourself to deal with the risks. So if you are making informed choices, then it means that you are better prepared while dealing with the risks. So any questions if you have on this particular slide about the external factors which you might be limited with, you may ask now.
Can you explain a little bit, elaborate a little bit more as WOT, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats?
All right. So now strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats we can discuss relatively in the external of the organization. Like as an organization, what is our strength? It could be our brand name. That could be our strength. It could be at the same time, it could be weakness as well, because we might be a new player in the market. So similarly, our positioning might be like an industry leader. So it could be our strength, it could be weakness, that we are a newcomer or we are industry leader in this market. So that gives us some point of some strength, that we are pioneers. We have started 30 years ago, like that. That is our strength, that we are in the market, and our footprint is there. And then similarly, our employees, our internal skill set that we have in the organization could become our weakness, and it could become our strength as well. So we need to do this SWOT analysis, that what are our strengths and weaknesses when it comes to how market judges us, or how we are perceived in the market, or similarly externally, what are the opportunities available to us. So do we have suppliers or contractors or other partners that would love to work with us, because we are always timely paying the invoices, and we are well off financially. This is our strength, that we pay to our suppliers. So that's an opportunity for us, that people are willing to do business with us because we are a big brand. Okay. So similarly, if we if we see that externally there are we are weak, and then there could be some threats in the market also that we those risks can be either opportunities or threats. So we may be preparing to capitalize on the opportunities, to look for the opportunities to enhance their probability and look to capitalize those opportunities, or we need to prepare ourselves as mitigations to the threats that we foresee in the market. Gigi?
Hi, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Would you elaborate in your own 2 cents on SWOT analysis, Gigi?
Well, for the SWOT analysis, it could be the strength of the company in terms of the products that they're offering, their as you said, position in the market. Are they the dominant players, or the brand, as you have said as well, and the people? Do they have the right team executing all their operations? Weaknesses could be lack of systems, like they may not be equipped with the right IT infrastructure, or maybe they don't have an organized way of working or systematic way of working. Opportunities, well, this could be the new market that they haven't explored yet. And the additional revenue that they can generate from their current business. Threats, these are, I think, the competitors. If they don't play well in the market, if they don't execute whatever is required, or like projects that can help them maintain their status in the business, then competitors can take over their market. So those are what I see as what strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats.
Got you. Now, one thing I want to add here is that SWOT analysis is not always external to the organization. So if you look, it can be internal or it can be external. So we might be strong internally, or we might be weak internally. We might have opportunities outside the organization, or threats outside the organization, or we might have opportunities and threats within the organization. So just we cannot term it that it's only external factor. We need to do SWOT analysis on all internal as well as external, in the internal as well as external environment. Yeah. Now we are talking about how internal or external environment impacts our projects, but keep in mind the projects also have an impact on internal and external environment. So it's reciprocal. So we are limited by some internal external factors, but in the end, through the projects, we also impact and give back to the organization which we work. Like we enhance the capability of the internal resources, and we do add some value to the external environment as the result of the products that we make and introduce in the economic circle. So this is also two-way traffic. It's not only that we will be always impacted by the internal and external factors, but it will be that we also will have an impact through these projects. We will also add to the organization internally as well as to the external environment. Well, now we talked about external factors a lot. Now internally, the one factor that we discussed earlier was how the organization is structured. So we talked about that it greatly impacts that if a project manager is empowered, and the project manager has the resources and the budget in his own hand, then we can imagine that the project management maturity will be better in the organization, and we can expect that with the power, project manager will be able to lead the project successfully because he owns the resources and he owns the budget. Now, organizational changes, if they change the structure from, let's say, a pure projectized structure to a bit of a matrix structure, or matrix structure to more take back the authority given to PM and then give it to the department manager, then all these internal structuring or restructuring can greatly impact the power available to the project manager, as well as ultimately the objectives of the project. Yeah. So any change will impact your decision-making power of the PM, or it will impact how we manage the projects. So with all these restructurings, what happened that it impacts the priorities first of all, and then when organization becomes reprioritization happen, it impacts the objectives and the scopes of the projects. And when scopes of the projects align with the changing direction of the organization, then so as the resources working on the projects have to align as well, which is not bad, but too much of restructuring will actually be a waste as well, because it will impact on the other way the work done for the projects, and we have to scrap the old projects and we have to move forward with the new projects, which somehow is a waste, but not always a waste. Definitely some of the project work that has been done, it can reutilize for the new projects that we will do. So any internal business change might cause the need for new scope of work added into the existing projects, or this reprioritization of the projects will also have an impact on the existing deliverables, because we might not be able to finish the deliverables in progress and deliver the value to the organization which we are about to deliver, because the resources have been moved because of the reprioritization to the other projects. So we may have a hold on certain key deliveries. Is this point clear as well? All right. So just to give you as a summary, we talked about two things: enterprise environmental factors and the organizational process assets. And we said EEFs are two types, internal and external. And I talked about internal as our internal skill set, our internal resources, our internal vision, mission, and values. And external is the marketplace condition, the laws, regulations in which the enterprise operate, as well as some political conditions. Now, OPAs, which is the organizational process assets, are of two types as well: our policies, procedures, and processes. And then we have the organizational knowledge base. Processes, procedures about hiring procedures, working with ordering the goods from the internal or external suppliers, our procurement rules, who to deal with, which supplier and contractor to deal with, and our organizational hierarchy which we have to follow. And then the knowledge base includes all the project repositories, like archived documents, our project completion reports from the previous projects, the risk registers, the issue logs, the lessons learned registers, and everything that is available, and also some tools and templates to start with new projects, like the PMOs in the organization, the project management office. They might also have some ready-made templates to start the project, like project charter template, or for all these registers like risk register, issue register, change log. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can take the templates from the repository and start with our projects. So having those things readily available greatly impact us, expedites the project management as well as the project delivery. These two factors are clear, EEF and OPAs, and then we can move. Guys, any question? All right. Well, there is a video here, if I am not mistaken, and since we are using the PDF version, so we can't play this video. It's about a project as an example, and we have an activity where we could have identified which of these following could be classified as OPAs and which of the following could be classified as enterprise environmental factors. With the definition that I gave you, are you able to distinguish from A, B, C, D, E, and F which one of the following are enterprise environmental factors and which one of the following are OPAs? Would you like to try, Gigi? So let me help you. So if you remember, I told in the previous slide that enterprise environmental factors are of two types, internal and external. So out of these given factors, like this, economic demand for a new shopping area, it seems like an internal or external factor. What do you think? Can we classify as an external factor, guys? Right? It's an EEF, which is an external factor because it's market demand, right? Market-based condition. Okay. Similarly, what about the second one? Historical society conversation building regulations. So we talked about any regulation, which we need to compliant of. It's also external factor, right? Similar to the above. Yeah. Local neighborhood demand for a better town center. Again, it goes to external EEF. Archive. So we said that any archive of the previous project's files will go to OPAs, right?
OPAs.
And in OPAs, we have knowledge base. And it will be part of a knowledge base. So this will come to OPAs. Yeah. And where we have two parts. One is knowledge base, the other is process, policies, and procedures. So it comes under the knowledge base. Yeah. And then approved vendors and contractors list. This is our SOP. Like we need to follow the procurement list for the preferred sellers, right? So this is our internal process. So we can say it's part of OPA, but it's part of our internal SOP, like standard operating procedure, or we have process, policies, and tools, right? Process, policies, and I think procedures we talked about. And then talent selection process as well. This is our process. So it's same as OPA. Do you agree with me, guys?
Got it.
Okay, all good. Well, so we have covered our first section of this lecture today. So we talked about how we link our we have two parts. One is knowledge base, the other is process, policies, and procedures. So it comes under the knowledge base. Yeah. And then approved vendors and contractors list. This is our SOP. Like we need to follow the procurement